Welcome to Beyond Brave. I'm Kyla, and here's where we dive into stories of...
But if you want it to be perfect, you can make it perfect.
Welcome to Beyond Brave, everybody. And happy almost holidays.
Yeah.
Coming up soon.
December 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
exciting.
We're getting close. You had a little bit of a fun little intro you wanted to try at the beginning this time, hey?
A fun little intro.
You wanted to...
No, I just thought it's fun to acknowledge that this is our 5th episode.
Yes.
We don't know quite where, we're going with this, but we're really encouraged with everything so far. And it's been a lot of fun, a lot of healing. And we just want to encourage everyone to make sure to give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple and leave comments. I like responding to all the comments on those platforms.
Yeah, more comments.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
Yeah. So you can,
That's a big one.
5 stars and subscribe. It's a little Christmas gift to us from you guys, anyways, for if you're enjoying the show.
Yeah. If you already did that, thank you.
Yeah.
And welcome to Beyond Brave. We got a lot to chat today. Got my teacher notes in the electronic version this time.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I was, looked down upon for my 3 pages here. So all you tree lovers out there, the tree farmer sitting across from me.
That.
Appreciates
as long as that iPad's charged up, we should be okay.
Yep, it's charged. We got 48%.
Right on.
Should do okay.
Thank you all prepared.
Should do okay. First of all, I want to do another quick thank you. Besides, huge thank you to our listeners who are also probably wondering, do you want to look up quick where we are on the charts? I kind of want to keep this going. See how long we can keep this going for.
I don't think I have time to scroll down there.
Oh, right in the heart. Right in the heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the first week of our podcast, we were top 20 on Spotify in Canada.
Yeah.
Then the next week, we had a little, downwards, little trip into 38.
I don't think you need to be worrying about these.
It's not. I just think it's funny to see how we ebb and flow, over the course. It's cool to start now.
I think we've obviously you're gonna have that quick bump, and we've leveled off, and it's really
let's just see.
Encouraging to see everyone, responding well to all the comments.
Well, if we would it reflect the popularity of certain episodes? Do you think it's episode 1 was
yeah,
and then it's episode 4, and then episode 5, it's gonna rev back up. You like my sound effects, guys? It's pretty.
Someone might.
I hope they do. I'm just gonna take a quick see here. How do I find it again? You go to podcasts on Spotify, and you go. Where do I go?
Oh, hon, I can't tell you without playing around with it for 5 minutes.
No, I found it. Oh yeah, your top 24. No, I don't want to know my Wrapped right now. I forget how do I find where I am on the numbers chart? Do you remember?
Anyways, things we've been up to lately.
Oh, I found it.
We had such a okay. What is it?
Okay, top podcast. Drum roll. She's scrolling. We've gone past 38. I'm starting to cry because I've gone past 60. Now I'm in a deep depression. I'm still going to cry. Now I might be on the floor wailing because I'm scrolling past 130.
What did I say about scrolling?
Wait, okay, now I'm going.
So this past weekend, we had quite a fun activity.
Well, that was a downer.
Yeah, well, we could talk about some fun things that we did.
Yeah, yes. Okay, we need to mention Bella's Ball, which got national news, by the way, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So CTV covered it, and it was on, which was that was just awesome. CTV is awesome. They've always kept
I don't know where
touch.
they heard, but it was cool. It was fun. It was a really nice place, like that, kind of an auditorium
TCU
in Saskatoon. Yeah, it was like a theater.
TCU
well, not
place.
A theater. It was like a conference room at the theater.
It's a real beautiful room.
How
TCU
many
there.
Disney characters were there?
Oh my gosh. I think I counted 12.
Yeah.
Who was there? Do we remember? Okay, Rapunzel, Elsa, Anna, Ariel, Merida, Batman, Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, Flynn, Ryder, Cinderella. Did I get them all? Was that 10?
And there's 3 different Spider-Men.
No, it was Spider-Man and Ghost Spider.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah,
the
that
difference.
was it. There was kids dressed up.
There was bouncy castles.
Oh my
there was
goodness,
a lot of singing and a lot of dancing, as you'd expect at Bella's ball.
Yes, a little bit of background on this. My friend Jen Draper from Saskatoon had run a family program in Saskatoon for medical families in a way to support them. And she, of course, is a very close friend of mine and knows Bella's story, of course. And she instantly thought of creating this ball in honor of Bella to honor her for her 11th birthday, her first birthday in heaven. And she made it exactly what we needed or would want it to be and what Bella, of course, would want it to be. Absolutely magical, beautiful. And not only that, supporting other medical families. So portion of proceeds went to Ronald McDonald House, our local one in Saskatchewan.
And all those gifts that were given to
Mhm.
the Children's Hospital in Saskatoon, that was really
Yeah,
cool.
it was
And
amazing.
yeah, I think
It was
there's
really
probably like
sweet.
70 people there or something. I was surprised by the turnout. I didn't know what
Yeah.
quite to expect. It was the snowiest, coldest day
Oh,
so far of the
yeah.
year. So
It was rough weather, so I'm really thankful for the people that actually made it okay
yeah, and
'cause
we were
it
able
was
to get a little bit of Christmas shopping done while we were there because we were
yeah.
all in full in getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that a little bit, uh,
Like now,
right now. Yes, that was
you
number
know,
1.
I try to work in a killer
You
segue,
did, and I
and you're
ruined
just
it.
like,
I
nah.
just "What are you doing?
Why don't we keep?
It's not in my notes."
It's literally the
You
second
don't
thing
even
up
have a
there.
note. Yeah, that was a great segue, and I just blew it.
Why don't you talk about it?
I'm all thrown off because I didn't find myself on the chart today. I'm
Flustered.
just a full laughter.
You know what's going to really help our rankings?
Hmm.
Stomping all over my segues.
I thought you were gonna say, "Subscribe, like and subscribe,
Yeah, no, I'm not
everybody."
much of a pitch man
No,
either.
don't do that. It's annoying. Uh, okay, so,
We can axe that segment next time.
how have we prepared for Christmas? How do we plan see, my segue was just abrupt. I'm so sorry about that. How do we plan on navigating Christmas this year without Bella? Uh, well, I was thinking about this today because I wanted to bring it up, and,
Well, we thought about it like a month ago. I
like
knew I'm like,
5 months
the
ago.
last thing I really want to be doing is spending time in here. I think we
Yeah.
kind of just want to make a big change, but
That was number 1. I think if we want to kind of give insight into where people are, uh, emotionally, if they are someone who is grieving over the holidays or through the holidays or close to the holidays, doesn't matter. If you're in any grief season of your life, we're finding it very hard to think about being at home without our loved one,
mhm,
without Bella. And so immediately we're just like, nope, we don't want to be home.
no.
So we started to prepare for comfortable Christmas we could spend away from home. And we like chewed on the idea of maybe just going somewhere as the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And then we kind of leaned more into okay,
Well, I thought that might be a little lonely too.
yeah, and so we leaned more into okay, what family,
Go
what
away and see our family. So we'll be
go
able to go to
in.
see my sisters, which is
Yeah,
nice because
yeah,
she has 3 boys. So Waylon will be totally distracted with trying to keep up with
yeah.
them,
Cousins Christmas,
or vice versa. They'll
they
be
rock.
playing some hockey,
Yeah. My
snowballs, fights, and
my favorite Christmases were with all my cousins.
yeah,
Yeah, and so it, like, really meant a lot when my parents would travel to get me to see all my cousins and aunties and uncles, and those are the best.
yeah,
I mean, I loved when it was just me, my mom, my dad, and my sister, but Christmas with cousins was better.
yeah, for sure.
It was just way more fun because there's so many of us.
Better.
Yeah, it's better. Sorry, dad. Sorry, mom. Sorry, Becky.
Yeah.
I like my cousin Christmas. So I think that'll be good for us. I think it'll be easier for Waylon. Um, and we just really kind of want to avoid that lonely feeling at home without Bella.
Mhm.
Is
Keep
kind of
distracted.
keep distracted and comfortable.
There's gonna be hard times.
Oh,
I don't think Christmas morning will be an easy morning.
no, but I just feel like no,
Keep it together.
I don't want this to sound like not cliche, but like I don't know, weird, but it's like no mornings have been easy.
No, sure.
And it's just like you just when you add that Christmas title on top, it just feels like it's gonna be worse. Uh
It was like it's been hard the whole time. I mean, even getting ready
yeah.
for Christmas and setting up the tree and decorating was, I don't know, more difficult than I expected. I'm like, well, just keep it together.
It's
You
heavy, it's
hype yourself up,
heavy.
and you're like, oh, you put a couple decorations on the tree, and it brings up all kinds of memories.
The physical toll grief can bring in situations like that is a lot. Like, if I could put that into perspective, just there's just thinking about putting up the tree without your loved one, and then there's the action of actually doing it without your loved one, and then there's it being there and the season and everything around it, and it's to me, it's like a workout because your body is just exhausted with emotion
Mhm.
because it's so heavy and it brings up so memories, and then it also brings up what they're missing, and then that hits you, and it just feels like, you know, think about setting up the tree and you wanna take a nap on the couch. You set up the tree, cry, you hold it together for your six-year-old, and then you wanna take another nap on the couch. It's like this, like, just these physical waves for me, um, I found is kinda like the experience of what that's been like.
Yeah, it was kind of like all day today.
Yeah,
We
and
had
yeah,
right?
definitely,
Like we had a
yeah,
big day today with I
yeah.
guess first thing we started off with was our grief counseling sessions. And I think we can go into that a little bit, but then we had,
Well,
the chat with our doctor. But okay, sorry.
there was one more little thing I wanted to mention about our Christmas
Yeah.
planning. I'd been saving many mementos in a little Christmas basket in preparation for setting up the tree because I knew it would be hard.
Mhm.
But I wanted to save them and I wanted them to be the special part of the tree for this year without Bella. And so at the top of our tree, I have we don't have like a traditional star like that we usually put up there or this big
We do,
angel, but
but I think we switched it out this year.
we switched it out this year,
Yeah.
and I have a pair of angel wings beside Bella's, handprint from July.
Mhm.
So she's our angel at the top of our tree.
I think that's appropriate.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's nice to know you can have, your own personal angel up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
She
so
would love that.
she would definitely love that.
And, it was like, it's not all doom and gloom and sad. I mean, it's, um, basically what I'm describing is the feelings that you kind of choke down that are there, but you want to choke them down in the moment because there's still so much joy in Waylon. Waylon was so excited when I started bringing in the tubs of Christmas decorations, and he was just like, "Yeah," like vibrating, and I want that for him. I don't want him missing a second of that because I am grieving.
Yeah. You absolutely nailed it with his reactions, and keeping him at the top of your mind really do snap you out of spiraling,
Mhm. Mhm.
into a little corner. And then I think that's healthy. I mean, he goes to bed and we can take our time that way, but uh, he keeps kind of like your guiding light a
Yeah.
little bit that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that kind of brings us to like
Mhm.
today at our therapy, you had a few things that you wanted to chat about.
Yeah, I always like throwing in here because I think it's important in our discussions, to be we like being talking in real time and supporting others that maybe go through similar experiences or just giving insight into our story because so many people are aware and want to know how we are. And like always, it's easier to talk to you. Like I'm very fortunate to have my husband to go through all this with and to talk about it on this pod as that's being therapeutic. And then we can share it with everyone and be like, oh, you're like, we talk about that on the pod. Like, take a listen and
Right.
hope it helps. Uh, we had a great timing of our grief therapy session this morning as we knew at 12 o'clock at noon, we would be speaking with Bella's medical team from Sick Kids about her autopsy results and just getting closure with that and getting understanding with that, which we did. But to start our day with a grief counseling session was really good. Uh, we on the drive there was kind of funny.
Why?
I had. Do you remember? I had these
Oh,
prepared.
yeah, because
I
you
had
from
these.
our last grief counseling, you said, "Well, I wish I could have got to my questions." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah, okay." And so I say on the way in, "Okay, Kyla, make sure that you start with your questions." And, well, I didn't really know the content of the questions, and
yeah.
apparently there's a little bit of me in there.
Yeah,
Then
so
like,
without skipping a
whoa.
beat, I whip out my notebook and I'm like, "Question number 1," and then I was like, "Oh, yeah, put that away, put that away, put that away." I was like, "Well, I don't wanna forget my questions 'cause
Well,
don't."
I think we had to get down to the list, but maybe question 4. Well, we can't start off that hot. I mean, warm me up a little
We
bit
were
before we get
starting
in there.
I was starting off with the, um
I think one of the takeaways from therapy today was,
yeah,
yeah, what I say, not necessarily, okay, I like to know what we're up to for the day, but maybe I should kind of start with, okay, not what are you doing today, but how are you doing
yes,
today,
yeah,
right?
definitely. I wrote down the helpful advice that we received today, and that is it in a summary. He also had said, which I found very easy to remember, it was collaborate versus compromise.
Mhm.
That was very interesting. Like a lot of people, compromise can have a real like negative
Nobody wins.
causes some maybe resentment in some cases if you compromise too much, that sort of thing. Whereas like if you look at it as collaborating, and what we realized through my question for our therapist was that um, men and women are very different in their grief, and men tend to be reactive, women tend to be more doers and planners. And men tend to be more task oriented versus emotional and relational, which I completely agree with because of what Lyle just said. It was very,
Before we start banging off all these tasks, maybe I should check in, say, okay,
how are
how are you
you?
doing? Rather than what are we
Yeah.
doing?
And it
How
was
are you
funny
doing?
because he helped us figure out like, okay, well, what time of day can you guys sit down and check in with each other? And it's like, he's like, do you like have like what time do you start your day? And we're like, oh, we start at 6. We get Waylon off and off, school by 8 on the bus, and then we sit down and have a coffee. And he's like, okay, well, that's the perfect time. So it's kind of like we're
I thought
already
that's what we were doing.
I thought that, yeah, and we were like, "Oh, maybe what?" And then so it's like we thought we were doing that, but then what I was having an issue with was, well, I feel like we sit down, yes, we have our coffee, but then it's like, what are you doing today? What are you getting done? How are you being useful? And I feel like the conversations were making me feel more like that versus how, or like you said, how are you doing versus what are you doing today?
Mhm.
And it's, really like there's a reason why people need leaves from work, right? It's that it's hard to function when you feel like a workhorse and your body is telling you, no, you're still grieving, but your mind is like, oh no, we can do some things. We can do like make a list. Let's check the things off the list. And then your body's like, wait a minute, no,
Right.
we're still in a like, let's just sit down and grieve moment.
Yeah, I really find that.
Yeah. Yeah. So our tip from today was collaborate versus compromise. Ask how you are versus what you are doing.
How you are, what you are.
Didn't work out very well.
We
How
already
are you
nailed it
doing
twice. I don't think
versus
you
what you're doing.
That
What
was my
are
line.
you?
Don't try to don't mess it
No,
all
yes,
up.
that was your line. It was such a good summary because after our therapist has said, try to focus on being more collaborative versus compromising.
Yeah.
Look at things
Well,
that
let's see
way.
if I can execute.
Yeah, and then you nailed it, and you're like, I was like, like I just was really excited that you were like, oh, you got it. Like the light bulb went off and you got it. I was like, okay, good. I'm
Well,
looking forward to that.
there was that was helpful today, and then there
Mhm.
was really the preparation for our call with our Toronto doctors
Yes.
team.
Yeah.
I had just this gut-wrenching nervousness about it, and I didn't really know why. It didn't make any logical. I mean, there's not gonna be any news that changes anything for us. Like, I think it was almost a bit of PTSD
Mhm.
from 10 years of just waiting for those calls from the doctor. You'll be in Toronto, I'm in Swift Current, and it's like, "Oh, we have a meeting this day," and for a week, all I'm doing is dreading what news they're gonna be bringing up in that meeting
Yeah.
because 'cause I've very
I've
rarely good
had
news that we're getting, and that was 10 years of that, and so I
yeah.
think there was a
Yeah.
lot of that coming up, but I just couldn't I told you, I don't know why this meeting is making me sick to my stomach, but I just really can't get past it, and I know it doesn't make any sense, but
Well, it's like you just said. It he said our therapist is like, you're don't forget you both are going to uh process this differently. And like you had just said, it has been years, 10 years of you in that mode of waiting for the call. Oh, what bad news is coming? Wait a week. What bad news is coming? Wait a couple weeks. And you're
Yeah.
always in that mode. Whereas I was completely immersed in it.
And aware.
Knew
Kind of.
aware, in the know, daily discussions with these medical professionals as soon as I wake up till I go to bed. And
It's
it
kind
just
of like
in it,
when, yeah, or even when you would phone when you're away in hospital.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why
To
is she
update
phoning? You're
you.
just going to text me. Why? And like, okay, if it's a phone call,
Yeah.
it's heavy. Just
Yeah.
kind of like when your parents phone you,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Who
dad,
died?
why is dad? No, it's always with dad phones. Dad
Oh,
phones is like, oh god, if mom's not calling, dad has bad news. Mom
yeah.
can't give me it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why is dad phone? I never talked to dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
mom must be too
And
upset.
yeah.
Which is, and it's rarely the case. I'm like, well, dad, why are you calling me right now? I don't just to talk.
Give
I'm
it to
like,
me.
oh, okay, well,
Oh, yeah.
can you put mom on?
Yeah. I need to be comfortable now. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I get that for sure.
Yeah, and so there's
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that when you would phone, and
Yep.
just those phone calls sometimes when I guess maybe there's a little bit of instinct in your stomach when you know that something's around the corner. But
Mhm. Mhm.
in this case, I don't necessarily think that, the meeting that we had, I came out of it um re- good. The meeting was great.
I think it
I
was
mean, it's
great,
heavy stuff. They were reviewing Bella's
but the
the
clarity
meeting.
was there.
The meeting was.
There was no unknowns. There was no like,
Mhm.
maybe we're not sure. It was clarity. And I was, that's what I needed.
Did we even talk about what? I mean, it was for Bella's autopsy results, really.
Yeah. So it's been 5 months. And I wanted to preface this by saying that Bella, if you know her story, you know her rarities and the combination of rarities with her conditions. And so that involves a lot of specialty teams. And so at Sick Kids in Toronto, there is the autopsy that was done and then the pathologist that has to review it. And if you know much about pathology, they take a lot of time with their reports. They need to. It's literally like looking at things under a microscope and reporting on it. And
Mhm.
with Bella's rarities, it just would have taken longer. So it's not that there was anything wrong. It's just this is a typical amount of time.
Mhm.
Uh, and then after that, then the multiple teams needed to meet. So the pathologist with the ICU team,
Yeah, it's
with
like
the
herding cats
GI.
between
Oh, yeah.
5
And then to
teams.
get all these professionals in a meeting, not just once, but multiple times. So pathology, ICU team, her gastroenterology, GI team, her transplant team, and her respirology team. All of them had multiple meetings before the transplant team would be able to summarize their findings and call us today. And so I just wanted to say, like, it's been a 5-month wait. It's been 5 months of you anticipating that phone call and having to, of course, your stomach was in knots because it's been so long.
But it turned out, he gets. I was mostly nervous because it's like you're opening up an old wound.
Yeah.
That wound is certainly not healed, but it's like, okay, the dust is starting to settle. We're just opening this up again, and it's uh, just a hard thing to process. But I mean, you can provide the update. You have a pretty good understanding of it, and I think the clarity is helpful.
Yeah,
So,
and I was also I'm feeling much more relieved because of the clarity, because I mean, we had our 4 team members on the chat, her ICU main doctor and,
yeah. So,
her
I
transplant
mean,
doctor, and they're always amazing to talk to. They always bring comfort and understanding and clarity to every conversation, so I feel relief from that. Uh, I want to be able to explain this in a way that people understand. I will try not to use, too much medical jargon and explain it in layman's terms if I need to, but jump in at any time.
I would
And
never interrupt you.
oh boy. Yeah, you can you're allowed. You're allowed because you were there. Okay, so here's the thing. I had so many medical conversations without you, and it's so hard to keep it in my brain and organized. And I need you for that. And I have needed you for that. And so it's always helpful to have you as like that backup recorder for the medical conversations we've had with doctors, apart from my chicken scratches that I have here.
We could have used, like, I think they have these recorders. Probably too late.
Such a turd.
Too late.
Okay, so what we found out, so essentially, if I get back up a little bit, Bella had passed away. She she had passed away in July due to lung failure. And what we didn't understand at the time was number one, how it happened so fast, and number two, was it even related to her bowel transplant she had last August
And her bone transplant from
and her
8 years,
bone marrow
9 years ago.
transplant from 9 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions, and because everything did go so good. She had a successful bone marrow transplant. She had a very, very successful bowel transplant. She lived an amazing, what was it, 9 months after this bone marrow transplant.
They were amazing.
Gave her the best 9 months of her life, and then lung failure out of nowhere. Why? We
Correct.
need to know why. And what they had found was organizing pneumonia.
Yeah.
Is the title. That's the head title. And how we get to organizing pneumonia being the cause is a little road down very extremely in our doctors, and I quote, extremely, extremely, very rare complication.
Yeah. It's more common with a bone marrow transplant patient. They
And
can
close to it.
and close to it, only within a year of probably receiving a bone marrow transplant
Yeah.
would they be even looking at this
Bella was
organizing
10
pneumonia.
years out.
Yeah. But what they believe is that with that bowel transplant, you
Mhm.
now have 3 different immune systems
Yeah.
kind of trying to work together. You have our original one
Yeah.
that's still a little bit around.
Yeah.
Then the bone transplant,
The donor,
bone
bone
marrow.
marrow donor,
Yeah, that
that
immune
immune
system.
system, and then the bowel donor immune
Yeah.
system. And also to keep in context, this is the only pediatric patient that has ever had a bone marrow transplant prior to a solid organ transplant. Her team has never done this before. They had never seen this before. And they had told us in our meeting today they will most likely not see this again in their lifetime because that is how rare
Mhm.
this situation is.
Circumstances are they're always gonna be unusual at
But I
especially at children's hospitals.
But I wanna say that because
Yeah.
Bella and I we're advocates for solid organ and tissue transplants, and I don't want this extremely, extremely very rare complication to scare away anybody from
Yeah, that's a really good point.
yeah, from
Absolutely.
transplants.
I'll touch on that in a little bit.
Mhm.
Brings me up something, but
Okay.
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so organizing pneumonia. And so what I had wrote down, how we got there is when you're starting on the background of a very complicated immune system, which is Bella's. You bring in a bowel transplant. With any bowel transplant, there is a virus called CMV. And they know this and they monitor it, and it is very common, and they deal with it and it goes away.
And it's common in most populations, like
It's
we have it,
yes. Yeah, like
and
we currently have it. You probably have it. Like it's there, and when you have a bowel transplant particularly, it is there, and they know it's gonna be there, and they prepare for it, and they prepare to monitor it.
it can be an issue.
It can be an issue.
And they have antiviral drugs for it.
Yeah.
And right after her bowel transplant, it had spiked, but we were able to control
Yeah.
it.
It was controlled and monitored.
And then I guess maybe 9 months down the road after she received her bowel transplant, we did start noticing some lung issues,
Respiratory
respiratory,
issues.
where she would get dizzy. She wasn't getting enough oxygen to the brain, probably because she didn't, and she would have we'd have to bring her in, and she'd get
CPAP.
oxygen, and
Yeah,
we would
and
kind of
high flow
yeah,
oxygen.
we would kind of recover from it. But
Yeah.
I think we would administer the antiviral drugs.
Mhm.
They would suppress that CMV infection, but at the same time, there was a lot of inflammation occurring within her lungs that would be that they would need to control. If once this inflammation occurs, they need to control that with steroids. The problem is with those steroids that they can exacerbate the CMV
Mhm.
issue. And so you kind of start to spiral out of control with, okay, do we administer the antibiotics? Do we administer the
It's a very,
steroids?
very fine balance as they
Yeah,
monitor this
it's a
virus that is common. However, with Bella, they believe with organizing pneumonia on the background of a very complicated immune system, the inflammation that was caused and the cells from the immune system causing the damage to the lungs is called these chronic changes is called fibrosis,
mhm,
which is scar tissue. And this extremely, extremely very rare complication is and was most likely triggered by the CMV. And even if you rid the virus, which they're actively monitoring and lowering and looking at, once this cascade of inflammation starts and takes over, there is cases that you just can't control. So it's like it was triggered.
mhm.
It started this chronic change with fibrosis and
And the
scar tissue, the
inflammation causing the
inflammation,
fibrosis.
and at that point, it was irreversible.
Yeah,
But it
I
yeah,
mean, they took X-rays through um, after they had been able to intubate her,
yeah.
in the last week of her life.
Mhm,
They could see through imaging that there was a ton of fibrosis in her lungs, and eventually it was just irreversible damage that
mhm.
we could it was very acute. So it
Acute,
wasn't
yeah,
something that, Bella struggled with for months or
mhm,
anything like that. So that was a relief for them to one, I'm glad you asked that question. And
yeah.
two, the the answer was good is that no, she didn't struggle with this for a long time. It
I
was
Can I elaborate on that?
yeah, no.
I just didn't want if you had something else, I didn't wanna interrupt.
Mm,
I asked the question, as her transplant doctor knows her. Dr. Bitzer knows her very, 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 very well, and he had said he had thought about what I was about to ask already because him and
mm,
we of course, I know Bella. He knows her just as well. What I had asked was I said, "She has such a high pain tolerance. She will push through pain. I've seen her push through pain to do something she loves,
to keep the opportunities coming
to
for her.
keep the
Yeah.
opportunities coming, to do something she likes. She will push pain aside, and I have to or I would have to check in with her and be like, "Look, honey, like, if this is too hard, it is okay." And she'd be like, "Nope, doing it."
It was even,
And
going to physio, 2
yeah,
weeks before
yeah.
this when she was struggling and she "No, I'm going to physio. I wanna
Or like
play."
2
I
hours
think there was a lot of she would do that when I am there. A
oh,
lot
she
of she
would
would like,
yes,
"I
like
need to show dad that I can swing the bat and play baseball," and I hate
yeah.
but she wanted to do that. It made her feel good, and
She wanted to do
those
those
sort of
things.
things.
She didn't wanna sit in a hospital bed. She wanted to get up, walk around, move, play baseball. Even I mean, even thinking back to so many things when, before we go to gala events and her bowel disease would cause her to be, like, vomiting 2 or 3 times, and she'd be like, "No, this is not gonna keep me in this hotel room. We are going to the party." And I'm like, "Honey, if you need to" like, that's just the way she was. And so I had asked them, I had said, is there any chance that this was affecting her and we didn't see it because she had such a high pain tolerance, because she would push through to do things she loved? Could she have been telling me she was fine when she really wasn't? Like, I asked that question and he's "No, like, no, this was acute, it was quick." Um, and the way we were monitoring this common virus, the way we were um, what did he say? Diligent parents with her medical care. He's like, there was nothing to see sooner ahead.
Right.
And he confirmed that for us. And that really meant a lot.
Yeah, I think it
I brought Kleenex for you. Sorry.
it's hard to understand maybe if someone's listening in, like, how do you take this news? And
Yeah.
it was such a relief for them to say something like organizing pneumonia.
Mhm.
Like, how many times did we get an explanation?
Yeah.
Very, very few. And so
Yeah.
it, what I was nervous for didn't happen.
Mhm.
We were able to get an answer,
Yeah.
but we also, I was worried about them saying, oh, it was this, and it was highly treatable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but then again, there's always those, "Oh, we if only we did this or only did that." That happens in death many times, and I mean, we would get over it. That's
Yeah.
but the other part of it was, okay, well, she needed that bowel transplant, and you start to think, what if she didn't get the bowel transplant? But I know we there's these IV lines called central lines that
Mhm.
are basically permanent ones that go into
Permanent IV lines, yeah, she
permanent
had hers.
IV lines, and she had basically won her whole most of her life at on and off in her life, and through that, with her tiny body, her
With her
main arteries were basically
scarred.
scarred and closed off, and so they weren't able to get any more. So the last permanent IV that she was totally able to have, we it actually
We lost
started up
it,
a 1 week after her bowel
bowel yeah,
transplant, which
yeah.
was remarkable because
If we woulda lost it before
she
the
wouldn't
bowel
have got the
transplant,
bowel
yeah,
transplant.
and things would have been horrifically worse.
Abs yeah,
She was surviving off of IVs, and she had no IV access. That's the easiest way I can put it.
and so, like, I had to make it clear to the doctors that, it we had these conversations going in that this is a highly risky
Yeah.
or organ transplant, but it's our only option. And with the timing of when that central line scarred over a 1 week after she got the
Mhm.
bowel transplant, so now her bowels are able to take liquids in and actually use them. She didn't need hydration through an IV line.
Yeah,
We didn't need that central line anymore. Some
yeah. She
remarkably,
was free of that.
she was free of it, and
Yeah.
for 9 months we had the
The life
best
she dreamed of. Yeah, yeah.
we had the best 9 months of our lives,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And she did too.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
It's okay.
even though it ended earlier than we had hoped,
Mhm.
it was better than we could have ever hoped for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I, I also prepared myself for this conversation
I
knowing
didn't.
that
Oh, you mean
I mean, with the doctors.
yeah, I prepared I didn't prepare for
For this
tonight.
one, this
Yeah.
one.
Oh, what's the third cry fest for the day? No.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I cried through our entire 1-hour therapy session. That's when my body decides to release everything, and so, um, I did that earlier today, and I think I'm all out. But I went into our discussion with our doctors today, kinda grasping preparing myself that if we were to get really, really, really difficult news that would be really, really hard to live with,
Mhm.
I kept telling myself, if there's one thing I need from this conversation is to at least know that they have the knowledge or the know-how to help another kid or prevent this for another kid. I was like, at the very least, they can do that. They can give me that,
Yeah.
right? No matter what. And so thankfully, we got the clarity in a way that was easier to take, right? We understand it wasn't anything we could have prevent. We know why it happened, and we know we understand it now.
Yeah.
We understand with that clarity. I still asked though. I said her bowel transplant was so perfect. And Dr. Vitzer had said when the autopsy was done, they looked like absolutely amazing. Normal functioning
Mhm.
great bowels. There wasn't a hiccup with her new bowels. They did their job and they did it amazingly well. And I said, "Well, then how come we couldn't then because she had them for such a short time, like 9 months is just a short time." I'm like, "Why couldn't they then transplant them again for another waiting child?" And he had said a couple of things,
I
but
think even just
it's
being handled, you're
it's
gonna
the
have
trauma
more.
of the surgery,
Yeah.
and they when they plan a transplant,
They want to optimize,
they have to optimize, and it has to be the optimal bowel from um,
and that's good.
the original, donor, the person's bowels.
Original
Owner. I wanted to say owner, and that just sounds ridiculous.
owner of
So number one, it's too much trauma on the organ to go from
twice.
one surgery to another major surgery. So they can't do it that way.
Plus, there's
And
so many background things with her blood and
well, that's just the thing.
the
Like
immune.
they,
What are you transferring? Right? What are you
well,
donating?
I'd said, like with a kid who doesn't have immune issues, with a kid who has a working immune system, that risk would be less. So if the bowels are still good,
Mm.
why couldn't you just then quickly transplant it to another one? But it's the main reason is there's too much trauma and they would risk it failing for the transplant recipient if it was, for a lack of a better word, secondhand, second hand. Like, what would you even call
You know what we should do?
it? Move on.
No, we should get the doctor on here.
Oh, no,
Move
you're gonna be
on.
like, stop talking, Bella. Like, you're butchering this conversation. But
No.
I wanted people to, that's true. And we at the end of our conversation with our doctors, we had said like,
You
hey,
would be great to get
we
on.
started a podcast with you guys. Because that's been my number one guest I've been wanted to invite, which I will get to. I gotta learn how to do that professionally but we kind of did it informally today.
That's
And
probably
he
the
was
best
like,
way.
and he said, yes, absolutely. So prepare yourselves, people of the world. We're gonna get some of Bella's doctors on here.
Yeah, like get some actually accurate information.
Yeah. And I love that
He's
stuff.
gonna insist now that he heard our breakdown of what it was. Like,
Oh,
no,
gosh.
that was wrong.
Yeah. You guys, he'll call me tomorrow. So I heard. No. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm relieved. I'm happy to get the information we got, and
Yeah.
it's just one more piece of the puzzle that I think will help us.
Yes. I had written down before we go on to our next topic, I
Mhm.
had written down what I wanted to say that I thought was a really good way to sum it up. Um, I prepared myself and I thought about it this way, that there is more healing in having this conversation with her doctors today about our autopsy. I knew I needed to tell myself there is more healing to have this conversation now than avoiding it for a longer time.
I like to avoid things. Yeah, that makes sense. But that makes sense. Like you
Yeah.
got to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I hope we were able to explain that without too much medical jargon, but ultimately, our little girl fought a big fight uh against the organizing pneumonia as best she could. It was irreversible. And
And I think further down the road when we're ready, we'll want to talk about, that last week that we had with her,
yeah,
those final days. It's not something I'm really ready
we're
to
not
talk
quite
about yet,
we're not quite ready, but
but being able to have even this conversation right now is
yeah,
one helpful too, and showing that
yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do this mm, even a month ago. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
There's going to be a lot of hard things just going through the memories of her final week and weeks. I think we need a bit more time before we feel strong enough to.
It'd be a messy podcast.
It would be messy, and we don't want messy for you guys. We want accurate and heartfelt and understanding and helpful and story times. On that note, we wanted to leave on a happier note.
On that note, we'll go to the other note.
We're going to do a different note.
Wow.
I like my segues. I'm getting better.
Mm.
Okay. We wanted to leave on a happier note. Now, this is how this conversation went about. Wild said, let's end on a happy note. I said, great. Let's talk about what would be helpful for people when they travel over the holidays. And you said, yeah, that could work. And I went on ChatGPT and found some pretty
Like
funny.
10 really boring
Okay,
tips. Make sure you pack a shovel.
Stop
Wow.
it.
Thanks.
No, made sure it wasn't boring.
Okay, well
I
then tell me.
thought,
Let's hear it out.
okay, say it. This is what I came up with. What's in Kyla's car?
What's in Kyla's car?
Okay, that's my
That
title.
is a great question. If you ever went in, because you keep a tidy house, but I think you just dump it all in the car.
I am the opposite. I'd rather clean my car than
That
my
center
house.
console.
You
You've
hold
never
me
seen the bottom.
hostage. You hold me hostage in this house. Keep it clean.
You
I don't have time for my car
you hold
anymore.
me hostage down those
Oh
podcasts.
my God.
So there we go.
No, okay. So mindful packing for winter conditions. And I thought this would be helpful for people when this episode drops. And then you're like, they'll already be in the car.
Well,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
I think it's on the 23rd. Everyone's traveling on the 23rd,
well,
22nd.
in case they are, just a couple, let me say a couple.
Let's review the things they forgot to pack in their car,
Yes.
probably.
And then we're going to get to some even funnier things because then I was like, how about I put a question box on my Instagram and we talk about our favorite and most hated Christmas traditions.
Mm.
That was me and my sis- we're gonna call this the Kyla sound effects.
I'm just wondering where you're gonna go with all this because
Okay, well,
very
well,
curious.
first back to what's in Kyla's car. Okay,
Sometimes the most entertaining things is just to sit back and let
and
Kyla,
not say anything.
let's see what she
What
says next.
What did I ask you to do before we came on this spot? We had to sit down, and I said,
Yeah, you're reviewing, like grading my podcasting skills.
don't stick. I wish we could just like focus in on Lyle's facial expressions when I'm talking. I just should have contact.
We are on YouTube, and I got video on YouTube now, so you can.
Yes, good. Okay,
I'm
so
totally confident that I will come across just fine.
when I look into your eyes while I'm talking, it's like I read every little flinch and every furrow, and I'm just like, and I don't know, like, oh, does he mean stop talking? Does he mean keep talking? Does he mean like, why are you talking? And so it makes me lose track. So I told you.
I'm just so excited to see where you go.
Oh, it's the worst.
And it's why is never asked. I don't know why is she. I don't ask that anymore.
All right,
Where are you going with this?
let's do. Okay, I just wanted to go to that, and then I wanted to go to the more fun things from my Instagram question box. But I thought these were funny.
I think we should talk more about what we're going to talk about. This is
Stop
really
it.
good stuff.
Okay, I'm jumping in. Snacks, because hangry kids are worse than black ice.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Shh. Do you like it? No. Stop twitching on purpose. A shovel for when the snow says, not today, Kyla. These are things you should have in your car. Blankets.
You wrote these down?
Yeah. Not just for warmth, but also for fort building emergencies. See, this
You
is
want a
entertaining.
blanket for in the car?
First aid,
You're
yes. You never know. What if you get trapped for 4 hours and CCA can't get you? Is it CCA? No, CAA. CAA.
For
Can't get you.
Canadians. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we're Canadians, so this is for people traveling in winter. If you were like, why is this crazy lady telling me to pack
Yeah,
a
if
shovel
anyone's
when I'm in
traveling-
California?
Yeah, they can go get bent. They don't have to stand this. It's
Yeah, we're
awful.
talking about like driving in minus 30 degrees Celsius. What is that in Fahrenheit? For the
That's close to minus 30.
no, minus 30 here is like really cold. But what is it in the States? What do they refer to it as?
Probably like minus 25.
No, Celsius is like
I know the word you're looking for.
Fahrenheit.
Okay.
I said it already.
Oh, did you?
I was like, what is minus 30 in Fahrenheit?
It gets relatively close at that point. Like minus 40 is the same.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this.
I know you did.
Any lessons in that?
Nah, it's okay. You don't need to worry about it.
Okay, one more that's kind of funny. Ooh, funny but purposeful. A bag of kitty litter, not cats, no cats required. Just sprinkle for traction and watch your tires claw their way out.
There's no way
Amazing.
that's true.
Yes, if you get in ice, kitty litter works as like sand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't it like bentonite clay?
Uh-uh.
It'd be almost slipperier.
No.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like clay, and when clay's wet, it turns really, really slippery.
Oh, so maybe this is a good thing we're talking about it, right?
This is a good thing. This is, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Should we switch?
What did we learn there?
Okay, well, what I wanted to say, emergency candles and a lighter, because nothing says holiday spirit like a makeshift survival.
Mm.
I don't know that word. How do you say that word? Seance?
So what's your favorite
You're the
holiday
worst.
tradition?
All right, let me get this.
I think mine is probably
Your favorite holiday tradition?
it's kind of boring, but watching Home Alone was just like number one. I don't know. We haven't watched it yet. I haven't brought myself to watching it without Bella, but that was a big one, and I think it still is. I think we'll just have to focus on, like, how much fun we all loved it, and we can continue to.
I
And we
think
would
we
also, and Bella and Waylon both, that movie is number one for Polar Express is up there for Waylon.
Wayland's watched Polar Express 4 times in a row.
But even before then, he was asking us to build the Home Alone home
Oh,
with our
yeah, yeah.
Lego.
I
I made a
say
killer one that one year with all the traps.
yeah,
Harry and Marv were just getting
Lego. You made
destroyed.
yeah, that was a good one. I say we let Wayland take the lead, right? Like,
No, I'm
what
gonna force this. He doesn't get a say.
most hated
I'm
family
not
tradition.
sitting through Polar
The
Express
forced
4
family
times.
traditions.
I'm not sitting through his terrible stuff.
My favorite holiday tradition, I would say it doesn't have to be related to Christmas, but for me, my favorite is sledding.
Oh, like tobogganing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Toboggan down. I love, love, love
I
tobogganing.
love
It's my
climbing up the hill.
favorite. My favorite.
No, you gotta pull them around on a Skidoo or quad.
Yeah, or the quad.
I
Yeah,
like
for sure.
that.
Yeah. Let's go to the question
What
box.
about hiding the elves?
Oh, okay, this is so, like, I think 50-50 with the people I know. Like, some people are like, hate it, and they're like, "No way, I'm not starting it. Absolutely not.
There's
Don't
no way
tell
it's 50-50.
don't let your kid tell my kid you have an elf because I'm no way I'm getting an elf," and all this stuff.
It's gotta be 90 against 10-4.
You think I've heard so many moms are like, "Absolutely not. I will never do that. No ways, no hows," because they're just like,
Yeah.
they're seeing all of us, like, other ones that do it, like, struggling, but I love it.
You'll have to do a poll
I
on
love
Instagram.
it. We should do a poll on Instagram.
Yay or nay?
Yay or nay, elf on the shelf.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your bet?
Well, it's like, I guess the age, like, we have a 6-year-old boy, and
Mhm.
so it's like he, like, loves it, loves it, loves it, loves it. Bella loves it. Like, I don't know, and
But I think there's what do you mean the age matter? That I mean, it's been around for a really long time.
well, what if you have an older kid who, like, ruins it for the younger kid, and then it's just this, like, fight?
They're gonna be in the
Does the
80,
parent do it next
90%
year?
that don't like it.
Yeah, we gotta
I'm
do the
saying
poll.
90-10 against. And
As
you
a
want 50-50? Like yay or nay?
I was thinking 50-50.
Okay.
You're saying 90-10?
We'll do the poll
We'll do the poll.
on the
We're
23rd with the podcast release.
Ooh, good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, poll. Watch for that on my Instagram at KylaCT.
Yeah, or if you're listening on 23rd, the poll will be on then.
My
That'll
Instagram.
a
Yeah,
little interactive.
yeah, little interactive. Because we have a bet. You think 90-10, I think 50-50 on Elf on the Shelf as a loved or hated Christmas tradition.
Ooh, and the winner has to drive to my
What?
sister's.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't worry.
that's the bet.
Once you give up after an
Mm.
hour of driving, I'll take over. Just 1 hour. Give me 1 hour.
All right, I'm
Because I
gonna
love just watching you just play on your phone and not talk to me for 5 hours of driving.
with my earbuds in,
Yeah, so rude.
and I get to say I'm working. Yes, I am.
As I see you just like throwing your finger across the screen, swiping up. I'm like,
Good
oh
laugh.
yeah, it looks really
Yeah,
busy.
it's just TikTok scrolling, TikTok wormhole, and then I bust out like full on like LOL laughter, out loud laughter, whatever that is. Okay, let's get to the question. Let's get to what people in my Instagram think are yay and nay to Christmas traditions.
Mm.
Love gingerbread houses, not so much movies or games starting at 11 p.m. The late ones, no, yeah, bedtime's early. I wouldn't want to start a movie or game at 11 either.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a movie.
Oh, Kirsten Boo Boo says we
Some of
eat.
the best games start at 11. 11's like, let the
No,
games begin.
I want to be in bed.
That's why. That's the best part.
Kirsten Boo Boo says they eat steak on Christmas.
No way.
Ooh, that would be yeah, I would be down for that tradition for sure.
Maybe Christmas. No, I'm a turkey guy.
You're a turkey guy?
Yeah.
Turkey just puts me to sleep.
What doesn't put you to sleep?
It's true.
You just talked about going to bed at 11.
Uh,
Or needing to be in bed by 11.
Lindsay Mack says could do without the rushing to try to get everyone, but also want to see everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so here's my thing with love and hate Christmas holiday season. It's not helpful for the be all and the end all to be the day of the 25th. When you have a diverse family or spread out family, make it about the time around the 25th.
Sure. The holiday season.
Yeah, don't stress family and friends out by making that day the be all and the end all. If it's the 20th or if it's the 28th or if it's the afternoon of the 23rd, that's okay,
Right.
right? Like, yeah, that's a big stressor.
Right.
Yeah. Try not to do that. That's a wah-wah. Tegan loves adults exchanging gifts just for the sake of gifts. Keep your money and just be a friend.
Oh, she doesn't love it.
Doesn't love. She put a heart at the end, but I misread that. Yeah. Gifts just for the sake of gifts. Yeah. Keep your money and just be a friend. I had a great discussion with a friend in the dollar store the other day, and she was telling me her plans.
Oh, is that where you got my gift? Dollars for
Stop.
your Christmas shopping for me? So just get some
No.
cans of Alphagetti or
Just getting some stocking stuffers and some treats, some yummy treats and
All right.
stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So we were talking about
Can't wait to open up that. Yeah.
Don't knock the dollar store, man. Okay. Anyways, she was talking about how it's their Christmas away, right? Like some people have, they try and keep every other year we're home, the other year we're away kind of thing. And
Mhm.
so for their away year, they're making it an experience Christmas.
Mhm.
And so it's about the experience. It's about getting together with family, water sledding, tobogganing, having fun, going
Water
out for
sledding sounds awesome.
yeah, and not stressing
Sorry.
4 different family members and their families to come together and buy gifts for everyone and who gets what gift and blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, go and do something. And I'm like, yeah, let's go to flipping Mexico. Let's just go and do something, not shop and get gifts or stress about the things.
Those are fun too, though. It can be.
It can be, but
Yeah.
don't stress about it. But if I had to pick, second poll coming up. Second poll. Okay, number 1, Elf on the Shelf, yeah or nay. Number 2, would you rather have a traditional Christmas gift Christmas at home or peace out on a vacay?
No, not just one off. One off, of course, you do that for the rest of your life. Every
Oh.
single Christmas,
Still 100%. Give me a beach.
you would never want to have Christmas here again.
I see everyone here every other day. What's 1 week out of the year? Right?
How often
Am
do
I
we
right?
go to family trip?
I've always told you my favorite Christmas is when
We
we were
might
in the
have to take this
Bahamas.
offline.
We have to take this offline.
I don't think I need to say what my vote is.
Oh, 100%. Take me to the beach. I'll see you in March. I'll see you.
You're gonna lose like half your followers. You're crazy, Kyla.
What?
But then
I'm gonna lose fall.
That's a hot take.
They're not spending
Everyone for the
Christmas
rest of
with
you.
me. Spending Christmas with me.
Go get bent. I don't care what you think.
Really though,
Sure.
the stress of the hustle and the bustle and
You went Christmas shopping yesterday. You seem just fine. This is
no, I would
I'm
still.
saying this from a pretty
I'm also Canadian.
high on
I
my
will take.
perch
Yeah,
take. Like
yeah.
I wasn't the one out there doing it. So I probably do not get a say.
Yeah, that's true. Also, thank you for that. Good,
Yeah.
good self-awareness there. But yeah, give me a beach. Give me a beach. Anytime, anywhere, every year. I'm not sure what time we're at here. Let me go through a couple more from the gram. Most love, Perry Joe's Mojo. I most love having my parents. Aw, that is yes.
Oh, that's sweet.
That
so you
is
can
really sweet.
send them a card while you go every year away.
That yeah, they can, there's FaceTime now. We live in 2024. We can
That's
FaceTime.
so special. I love FaceTime.
Oh, what? Okay,
Can't
what?
wait to FaceTime you on Christmas Day
Oh,
from my bedroom.
and I will FaceTime you from my beach. Thank you. Next. Okay. This brought up something I wanted to mention too is keep in mind the ones that don't get these days off. And what comes to my mind is the kids in hospital and the healthcare workers and anyone else there that has a job that doesn't allow them to just take this day as a holiday.
Sure.
Just keep them on your mind. For all those people that are grumping about
Emergency
yeah,
workers, anything
emergency
like
workers.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're
Road crews.
grumping about not being able to go to the beach for a week, just think about the people that don't even get to leave their job
And go see their family.
and go see their family.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of that, like we had some of our best Christmases ever when we were in hospital.
Yeah, we had a lot of Christmas in the hospital, and they were great, and you know who made them great?
Who?
Ronald McDonald House.
And the hospital, they
And the
gave gifts.
hospital,
Yeah.
yeah, but, like, those 2 combined, like, we're living in the Ronald McDonald House and back and forth in the hospital with Bella.
You're
Uh,
absolutely right.
they made them amazing and special, and, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that kind of wraps things up for today
I
for
think
our
so
episode.
too, yeah.
I wanna make sure to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and to drive safe.
Yes,
Mm,
please drive safe. Pack the shovel, maybe not the cat litter.
we'll get to the bottom of that.
The candle, extra clothes, just stay safe, when you're traveling to see your loved ones and, or making it to your beach vacation, whichever one.
Yeah. Give everyone a big hug.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, and please and
Hey,
always
there's a lot of other holidays going on than Christmas,
stay
yeah.
brave.
Whatever you're celebrating during the holidays.
I I ruined your segues, you ruined my outro.
Well, I just thought there's lots of people that don't celebrate Christmas,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness, throwing that in there last minute.
right?
What are all the different Christmases, holidays? Hanukkah,
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa. Ooh, look at you.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah. Maybe not a great poll on Instagram.
No, not a great poll.
We probably just should Google these things.
We should Google a little bit more, maybe. Hey,
Yeah.
outro.
Stay tuned. We
Yes,
won't miss a day. So we'll be on every Monday, right?
every
We'll
Monday,
pre-record a couple before.
Beyond Brave on all major streaming platforms. And if you want to follow our day to day or reminisce through older content, please visit me and stop by my Instagram and my TikTok, which is at KylaCT, Bella Brave on Facebook. And I'd like to end with what Bella would say: God is love. Stay